Hi, my name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Before I was a divorce mediator, so you might say I've had a change of heart. And the topic today is incredibly good topic, and I want to word it correctly. It's managing your emotions in your marriage. Managing your emotions in your marriage is a nonsensical phrase. It's sort of like managing your anger. These are two things that you should not be managing. You should be controlling completely, eliminating them in particular interactions, not only outer, but even within your mind. One of the greatest fallacies that we have going in the world right now is that marriage is a psychological thing. It isn't. Marriage is a love thing. Marriage is a spiritual path that each of us goes on individually with our soulmate. It's an individual spiritual path. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look, by the way, we have nothing to do with mainstream. We're not connected to Western psychology at all. I used to be. Over 20 years ago, I was a divorce mediator. I got all my clients from counselors to help them get a divorce. And I realized they had no idea what they were doing, these marriage counselors. So here's why they don't have the right stuff for marriage. Because they see love as an emotion. And you may agree with that right now until I explain it, because love is not an emotion. And they describe love as a heightened positive emotion, increased like. So let's look at that in the context of when you go to a wedding, yours included, and there's this moment where there's this surge of love. That's not an increased like. It is its own thing. It's a spiritual thing because you cannot quantify it with material measurements. So it's spiritual. It's either material or spiritual. There's nothing in between. So psychologists who don't want to acknowledge spiritual say it's an emotion. But it's way beyond your emotions too. Think about love. Think about love for your husband or your wife. Think about love for your children. Think about not the kind of love that's compulsory, where your siblings are involved and you never really got along with them, but you love them. Think about the love that explodes in a way, and you got to think about this, where your mind can't wrap around it. It's bigger than your mind, because the mind is material. Now the mind has software in it. You know, computers are designed after the human mind. And there's software in the mind. Emotions are a software. And you load up the software in order to help you. I'm going to sidetrack for a bit. We have courses both for men and women to help them with their marriages. And way in the beginning, I used to help people control their emotions. But it's much more than that. And in the courses, they're online courses, I teach people how to master not just your emotions, but your mind itself. So anger, emotions, subconscious, imaginative things that get you into trouble, everything about the mind. You, as a first step, if you want to have a happy marriage, it's not enough to quote unquote manage your emotions or manage your anger. You have to manage control, master your mind. So all of these component parts of your mind are under your control. So you're not a slave to your emotions. You're not a victim of your anger. You have to learn this stuff. And in our courses, it's the very first thing we address. Because there's other courses online, and they're good. I think alternative methods of healing marriages are way better than psychological methods of couples counseling and like that, because we know that those things don't work. So what they teach you in the alternate is how to behave. Well, that's where I started too, when I started helping couples, when I stopped giving them divorces. I came up with a very simple idea that you have a binary choice. You could either do something that's going to improve your marriage or undermine it. It's really that simple. Because I don't want to get into all the stuff in the course, but actions, you only have several types of potential actions. And then you only have 2 choices with each. So why not make the right choice? But I discovered that wasn't enough. And so the Marriage Foundation is unique in this respect. I created a method of completely controlling your mind, where your thinking will change. From your thinking, which is habitual, springs actions. So when you change your thinking and you align your thinking with your heart, not emotions, with your heart, the real feeling of your heart, which is love, then there's nothing but sweetness coming into that container called your marriage. And that's what it's all about. So I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to tell you you can, quote unquote, manage your emotions, because it's crazy. Theoretical at best. Impossible in reality. Getting rid of them is possible. Owning them is possible. Honoring them is stupidity. They belong to you. Your mind belongs to you. You have free will. And you're supposed to utilize that free will as a human being in order to be happy. Marriage is all about happiness. It's all about love. You're here to learn how to control the mind, to master it, so it responds to you, the soul, as you wish it to do. You see, even among religionists, they say, oh, you have a soul. I do not say you have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body and you have a mind, but you're a soul. The soul, you're a human being. You are entitled to, it's your birthright, to have happiness and love. Marriage is the greatest vehicle for achieving those 2 beautiful gifts. So go further. Don't pretend you can manage your emotions. You can't. It would be like managing a wild horse. Instead, learn how to subdue the mind, control the mind, including your emotions, including your anger. So that's it. I'm Paul Friedman. I really hope this was useful for you. If it was, like the video. Leave a comment if you wish. Definitely subscribe to this channel so you could learn more about marriage the right way. And thank you for joining me. And God bless. Take care.